Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to World Sports Daily. I'm Jim Williams along with Sean Miller. And it's World Cup weekend finally. Finally, on Sunday, there will be World Cup soccer. And it's, we've talked about it for a long time, and now we actually get to see it. So there you go.
We better get to the games because every day the stuff about the Cup and not the games is a disaster. They banned beer sales today, except for the rich people in the boxes. They can do whatever they want. Stunningly about that, but Budweiser is sponsoring the FIFA World Cup, and there's no Budweiser at the World Cup.
Yeah. So we got Sunday. It kicks off at 11 a.m. with Qatar and Ecuador.
Yeah.
And it keeps on going.
That line is weird too. It's interesting because that line keeps moving, and there's been some weird tweets about the game, and there's been some, the Qatar's plus 260 now. They're plus 200 now. It's just weird. There's a lot of stuff around the game. I just want to get to the games and watch the games at this point instead of having to deal with all this other stuff.
Right.
I'm getting all these requests every day to write hey, listen, there's, half and half scarves for Iran and U.S. and there's the richest teams in the world and the blah, 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 and the media
in the world.
Look, I just want to watch the games.
Just put them on the pitch and let them play it out.
Yeah.
As Kenny Mayne used to say, games are not played on paper; they're played on television.
That's correct.
We will see that. It's on FS1, 11 a.m. on Sunday. So you'll be able to watch that game. And trust me, after going through the schedule on the NFL, you're not missing anything this week. We even have, as you mentioned in the pre-show, we have a game that was scheduled to be played in Buffalo, but they're going to go to Detroit and play it because
two games. The college game got moved as well. They got canceled.
Yeah. So, we're talking about some serious snow going into northern New York, and that's a ways up 95 from both you and me, my friend. And happy to say it's not going to be snowing that badly here. I hope.
I don't need 6 feet of snow.
No. I don't think anybody needs that. So we were talking, and we thought, why don't we play a little bit and do a little Saturday, Sunday stuff on college sports and pro football, just to get you, going for this particular week. And so to that end, let's take a look at what's going on. We'll go pop around the league. First up, number 1, Georgia takes on a Kentucky team that's, was at one point in time in the top 10. And they fell on some tough times there for a little bit. But, if Georgia is sleeping, Kentucky could win that game.
I think it could be an interesting game.
Yeah. Mr. Bennett at Georgia is just throwing the ball over the yard. But, we had Stoops is a defensive guy, and he's done well at Kentucky, so we'll see. But they're playing at Kentucky, which is
I had thought about it earlier in the week, and then this. I just think now these teams at the top, Georgia's Kentucky's struggling. Georgia is just
rolling.
Now, if they get to the SEC title game unbeaten, it doesn't really matter what happens in that game. They're still in the playoff. So, it's going to be, just got to – this is really the last game here they have to worry about.
Georgia Tech is a scrimmage.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. They don't have any quarterbacks. And they'll get there. I think they just have to keep their focus here, and they should be all right. I don't see this. I personally don't see it being.
I don't think it might be closer. I'm not sure. There was a serious double-digit Kentucky was a serious double-digit dog. I don't know if that's changed much.
The line went from 16 or 17 to 22 and a half now. Georgia's 22 and a half.
That's not
48 and a half. So I don't think they expect Kentucky to score much here.
Yeah, against Georgia's defense, they may not score at all. But strange things happen when you play in that blue and white checkerboard place in Kentucky.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I don't know. Georgia, no, they're not going to lose to Kentucky. That we don't worry about that one. But the distance is how much do they beat them? Do they beat them by 19 or 20 or 25 or whatever? I don't know. I think they certainly have the potential of doing it. And Georgia's not looking past them against Georgia Tech. I will say this: Kirby does a great job. Kirby Smart, does a great job of getting teams prepared. And I don't think he's going to let Georgia keep their foot off the gas. He understands what it's like to be in that slot. And I don't think Georgia wants to give up the number 1 seed. And so I think they're going to run Kentucky out of the building.
Yes, I agree. There's more of a potential of that, I think, than this game being a win.
Close. Yeah. And the weather shouldn't be any issue there.
Yeah.
And now, this one, I put this on the list for one reason. Mario Cristobal came to Miami, and there was great expectations, which is not fair because he just got there from Oregon. But, nobody ever said life is fair or college football is fair. He can make his season, and he can make everybody who's wondering why the hell they hired him and brought him back shut up if he can beat Clemson. Now, can Mario Cristobal, with a backup quarterback, bring Miami past Clemson? I don't know, but it's one of those things where if you're Miami and you're Cristobal, and he's saying, "Look, this is our championship. This is our bowl game. This is our everything. If we beat Clemson, if the game were in Miami, I would feel a lot better about that. Being in Death Valley, that's a different animal. Altogether.
Well, the problem too is they've they already lost their big bowl game. Florida State blew them out 45-3. I mean, Florida State's look. I'm a Florida State guy. This Florida State team isn't vintage Florida State. I mean, you got embarrassed by Florida State. Florida State scored 31 points in the second half, 4 touchdowns and a field goal. I mean, just in the first half they scored. It was 31-3 at halftime. They got absolutely embarrassed. I just this Miami team. I know. I mean, I guess it's going to take time, but you can't be losing to Duke and Middle Tennessee State and the worst Texas A&M team of all time, and that's the problem. I mean, they don't have a lot of good wins here.
Yeah, they're bowl eligible, but that's about beyond that. But the theory of the case and why I put it up here was: is there a possibility that this is Miami's big thing and
I think
Clemson
could be overlooking this because Clemson's got South Carolina stinks, but Clemson's got UNC down the road here, weeks. So that UNC game. I mean, look, North Carolina's still in with a chance to get to if North Carolina wins out, if North Carolina beats Georgia Tech, NC State, and Clemson, they could be in.
They can make a pitch for.
Yeah, you got to give them a chance, And the quarterback, the freshman kid, is going to be maybe the Heisman. So, yeah, look, I mean, I don't think Clemson's looking past Miami, but Clemson's not any good either. So, I don't know that they can go out there and cover a 21-point spread or 19.
I'll be honest, I'm not so sure that Clemson, in this watered down version of the ACC, is that good.
Yes.
Are they better than Miami? Yes. I'm talking about, are they playoff worthy?
No.
I don't think so, but there's still 3 weeks to prove me wrong. now let's go prime time. And this one is SC and UCLA. SC's top running back is out for the game. UCLA runs a lot and does it very well. You got two outstanding quarterbacks here in this game. It's a sold-out Rose Bowl, and it should be good. I don't know that either team is going to be able to stop the other. And I think that's where our concern would be if I'm in this game, is that can SC stop UCLA from scoring? Can UCLA stop SC from scoring?
Yeah. I've been pretty high on the USC all year, just offensively. I know they don't stop a lot of people, but, I just think at some point they have the revenge factor from last year. They know, same thing with them. I mean, they're in with a shot here. If they went out and beat 3 ranked teams in a row, they're in the playoff. I don't, they're people are talking about Tennessee, but I just don't see how you leave a USC team that won its league and beat 3 ranked teams in a row on the way to winning its league out of a playoff over a team that didn't even get into the play, didn't even get into a thing. So, I think, but,
And the one game they lost on the road
by a point.
By a point to, a Utah team that is incredibly talented.
Top 10 team in the country. Yeah, so,
exactly.
Exactly. That if they end up facing Utah again, and they beat them, then, that takes care of that loss. So
that actually, to be honest, I think that that SC is probably the best possible option for the Pac-12 to get a team in the playoffs. Because if UCLA wins and and Oregon and Utah play, Utah wins out, Utah's still going to have 2 losses, and one of those losses is going to be to Florida, which wasn't a big game either. So that's when Tennessee starts getting attractive to people, assuming Tennessee wins out. So
the other thing is, look, I don't need to people are like, oh, Tennessee should be in. Look, I already saw Tennessee play Georgia, and they didn't do anything in that game. They got to be 27-13. Their offense couldn't. The greatest quarterback ever couldn't do anything in that game.
Right.
I don't need to I want to see different teams. I think at some point you have to football needs USC to be good, or someone from the West has to be in it. Somebody from the Midwest has to be in it. You need to have more of this geographical stuff, because it's not, you can't just have 2 SEC teams, an ACC team, and some rando in the tournament all the time, because it's just at some point people are just it gets boring. I don't know what the 12-team playoff. Hopefully it starts as soon as possible. Hopefully they find a deal and just get it done, because they need to start having other teams in this thing and make it a little bit more
entertaining for the.
Yeah, I don't even look, if it's when you look at the rankings right now, if it's Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, and USC. All right, now you got a team from the East, you got a team from the Midwest North, you got a team from the Midwest South, you got a team from the West. Now there's different teams. There's different teams in there. TCU is new, USC's back in it.
Well, and you also have a coast to coast, multiple time zone situation, which is kind of
it's crazy too, because they have the games. I mean, you want to have these, they're New Year's Eve,
right?
And I don't go to parties anymore. I don't really do that stuff. But if it's if Georgia's playing USC, yeah, look, I'm going to watch that game. That's entertaining to me. That could be an interesting game. I think USC is very good. If If Ohio State's playing TCU, I would think Ohio State would win, but I'd be interested because there'd be a different team in it. But it's just me. Like some people are just all about college football and they just want to see the SEC teams win. But
I grew up in the SEC country and rooted for the Gators my entire life, and I get sick of it. I mean, I'm just like, the fact Alabama would have to come a long way to get into the playoffs, and there are people talking about saving. I'm like, stop it. Just, stop. Let's see some teams in there that we haven't seen before. And I get sick of Ohio State, to be honest, because they don't win when they put them in there. They were like Notre Dame. Notre Dame shows up and gets killed every time they play in the playoffs.
Every time.
And so, okay, yeah, one Urban Meyer month, they had a decent situation, but I get sick of that situation too. It's like, for some reason, through birthright, Ohio State ends up in the playoffs. I don't get it. But, it is what it is. This one's going to be fun. It would have been fun had Bo Nix not gotten hurt. Now Oregon is going to have a whole, they are at home, which is a definite advantage against a very talented Utah team. So,
yeah. I think when you look at this, game, I would have picked Utah to begin with, but especially without Nix involved here, I just don't see any way they can win this game. I don't know what see what this line is now. It's still Utah -2, which is, I don't know.
That would have been the line I would have thought when Oregon was. Well, if Bo Nix was in there, I would have thought the line would have been 2 or 3. The fact that it stayed there is confusing to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let me just check and see if Bo Nix injury status. Positive injury update. I guess he's practicing. I don't know. It doesn't sound like. It just seems like they're doing this to.
Well, I watched the game last week when he got hurt.
Yeah,
and he was jumping around, wanting to get back in the game. So I'm not sure what exactly it is. I don't know if they're Belichicking this thing and basically saying, "Oh no, he's not going to play," and then of course he walks out on the field.
I think it could be the other way around. Like they're saying maybe he's going to be there, and like he's really not. So they prepare for him, and then it's the backup. So
yeah, and Utah, Cam Rising is a quarterback that very few people are talking about, but that kid can play, and so we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Let's pop over to the pros on Sunday. And we had a hard time scrambling to get any game worthy of conversation. But on 4 o'clock on Fox, after you watch the soccer, the Vikings and the Cowboys, 2 teams that I don't think anybody – well, I think the Cowboys are doing relatively well. But the Vikings just dominating the North Division in the NFC. I didn't see, I thought that they would be competitive. I thought they could even beat Green Bay, but they got Green Bay by 4 games now?
Yeah, if they win, I think they've already beaten Green Bay, right?
Yeah, once.
They beat Green Bay on opening day, so they would have a 5.5 game lead with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games played. So basically, it's over. And Green Bay stinks. I mean, I watched that game last night. I mean, it's over they're done. So they're making playoffs. Yeah, it's going to be. The playoffs are going to be. The Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Vikings.
Right.
Somebody from the South.
Probably Tampa Bay.
Yeah, San Francisco, and then whoever stays, if Seattle stays hot, or if the Washington gets a little bit hot, or if, Atlanta gets hot, or if Arizona gets hot, or something like that.
Well, the Giants and the Cowboys and Eagles are all, would be leading.
9 wins will get you in the playoffs and the thing. So the Giants need 2 more wins, and the Giants can go 2-6 and probably still get in, but the Giants aren't going 2-6 here with their schedule. They play Detroit. They got to play Washington twice, Eagles twice, Dallas, Minnesota. Oh man, they could go, and the Colts. They could go 2-6, but
I think they're a little better than that. Even
they'll probably split with Washington.
Right.
They could split with the Eagles. So, if they go 4-4 here, they're probably gonna have a decent. They're probably not gonna win the division, but they'll be 11 wins, and they have a decent shot in the playoffs because you look at the stats. Barkley's got almost 1,000 yards rushing. So.
Chargers and Chiefs. That's the night game on Sunday night on NBC and Peacock. It depends on everything. Depends on Herbert's hand.
Yeah, they're banged up.
They're definitely banged up. The Chiefs continue to make liars out of everybody in the AFC. It's like like it, dislike it, whatever. The title is going to go through Kansas City. I mean, I know there are some people out there that think, oh, Buffalo's fantastic, and let's get ready for Buffalo. Well, good on you, but they just haven't played to that capacity at this point. So
yes,
we'll see what we can see. We have we were talking about the World Cup and some of what happens, when they, where they're going to play and where they're going to stay. So we've got, we've got some interesting stuff here. Let's take a look at where we're going to see them stay when they're in Qatar. And this is, courtesy of Al Jazeera USA.
Some resemble an Arabian palace, others an oasis in the desert. Whether it's a luxury resort or student accommodation, the 32 World Cup finalists have booked their rooms, and if they make it all the way to the final, they'll be staying in them for up to 5 weeks. So their choice of accommodation may well prove crucial. The compact nature of this tournament means it's the first time teams haven't had to change locations or travel long distances to get to games. 24 of the 32 teams have made their home base within a 10-kilometre radius of the centre of Doha, while others have chosen to stay much further away. Belgium and Saudi Arabia are close to the Saudi Arabian border. The German team has exclusive use of a wellness resort as far north as you can go in the country, around 100 kilometres from Doha. The most basic rooms here cost around $1,000 a night. And Mexico chose to base themselves in the small seaside town of Semesma, 30 kilometers north of Doha.
Here is our 4-bedroom villa. It's one of the most luxury villas in the city. I believe the Mexican team have selected the place earlier. They came here and visited, one of the choices before even they got qualified. I think the privacy here is the key. You still have to have something from a culture, something from their background. For the Mexican, the avocado it's essential to be there. The chili, of course, it's something very, very important, and we will make it happen for them.
And it really feels like we could be in Mexico, doesn't it?
That's true. A little Mexico, as we said.
A little bit of Mexico,
exactly.
Yeah. The players at this tournament may be worth millions of dollars, but not all of them are staying in luxury. Lionel Messi's Argentina and former champion Spain have chosen Qatar University's campus, where they can walk to their training ground. Australia are in student accommodation too, albeit at the state-of-the-art Aspire Sports Academy. Well, this is the nicest student dorm I've ever been in. The beds are very comfortable. As you can see, there are 2 beds in this room, but the Socceroos will only ever put 1 player in a room like this. He'll have his own private bathroom, and there's actually another bedroom on the other side of this suite too. 63 suites like this in this building. As you can see, there's a shared lounge where the players can sit, chat, have a cup of tea, watch some TV, and also a balcony with a view of the training pitch. So whether it's a bed in a dorm or a luxury villa, the hotel managers can guarantee at least one thing: when the World Cup champions are crowned, they'll be asking for a late checkout.
Well, thank you to Al Jazeera. Those are pretty nice places to hang out. I don't think that, I don't think it'd be something that we would worry about in that regard.
Nicer than the dorms I stay in sometimes when I went to Manchester.
Yeah.
I used to go in August and stay for 3 or 4 weeks at a time. I would be based in one of the dorms there that was they were closed until students came back in September. So those are a little bit nicer.
Yeah, a little nicer. Just for point of reference, Qatar is actually smaller than New Jersey.
Yes.
So no matter where you stay in Qatar, you're not that far away from Doha in that regard. So there's that situation. So it should be in good shape there. Any last minute thoughts on the cup as we get ready to start? I mean, we've talked about it all week long. There's some pretty good storylines. I know you've been writing about it all week long. So what are some of the stories that that people could click on and read right now that you've penned?
Yeah, I wrote some stories about the value of the squads, and there's a big it's not like the most groundbreaking thing ever, but the teams with the most value squad are the ones that are favored at the tournament, obviously because they have the best players. But look, there's a lot. We talked about how chalk in some of the other tournaments, it's going to be mostly chalk. There's going to be some surprises though. And you want to try to, if you're filling out a bracket or, it's kind of like, it's not like the NCAA tournament because that first and second round, there's surprises all the time here, to get, once you get to the 16, it's mostly teams left. But I do think this first week of games, which, basically goes through.
I was trying to get I have a soccer ball from the 1984 World Cup, and there's a story to be told with it. And hang on 1 second as I drag it out, and hope I don't knock it all over the. There we go. This is clearly my grip is not as good as I thought it was. This is from the 1984 game, and we were doing some promotion, and Pele was working with us on it, and he was just supposed to stand in front of us, of a screen and talk. And he said, "Well, does anybody have a soccer ball?" And I happen to have one. So I tossed it to him, and the first thing he did before he, used it to as a prop was he actually took a Sharpie out and signed it. You can there on the Brazil, you can see where he signed it. I never asked him for it. It was funny, but he just reactively took a pen out and wrote his name on it. Then he kicked the ball around for a few minutes, and that was part of the spiel, which he enjoyed doing that rather than go down the straight up script that we'd asked for. But anyway, there you go. Ball is now rolling off into the sunset. But
he was in the best movie ever, Victory.
Yes.
Or Escape to Victory, as it's called in Europe.
With Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. Just what? It's interesting. I started watching that Tulsa King yesterday with him in it. So
is it good?
Yeah, it seems like it's good. It's the same guy that does this Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Yeah,
I never really watched that, but I guess I read a story about this guy, how it's been so good. So I watched. was interesting. So I'll probably watch that Yellowstone if I ever get time to. If I ever get 10 minutes to watch TV, I'll probably watch it. I'm trying to finish Peaky Blinders and stuff, but
it's funny. You talk about Yellowstone. The ratings for Yellowstone is in the episode just recently, which
crazy,
was in the top 20 of all TV shows watched. And when you consider it's a streaming service, Paramount Plus, that was a huge deal for CBS to get that. And Costner has done evidently an outstanding job with it. I also have not seen it. And Peaky Blinders is it's a very clever show. As a matter of fact, my niece, who got married last Thanksgiving, her husband decided that, with permission, that he and his groomsmen would all be wearing Peaky Blinders suits. So they actually had them made in England and sent over for the wedding so that they could wear the Peaky Blinders suits and caps. And so, it was a Peaky Blinders wedding.
They were here filming, Mr. Robot, Rami Malek is my guy. Mm-hmm. So they were in Princeton filming a movie about Oppenheimer, J. Robert Oppenheimer, right, coming out next year. So Cillian Murphy is Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. So I always try to get over there to see them filming. I could just never get a chance to get over there, but I'm excited for
Malik in Bohemian Rhapsody was amazing.
Yeah, he's Mr. Robot's my favorite show. So I'm excited to see the movie and stuff. I have the painting downstairs, the drawing downstairs of Oppenheimer. So it'd be interesting.
Well, it'll be fun. All right. Well, we didn't need to get you going today, and so in the spirit of that, folks, what we're going to do, because we'll be back on. When we come back on Monday, the World Cup will be playing, and it'll be playing while we're here. So we can talk about it. We'll have it on TV behind us, and we can have some fun with it. So what we've done, Mr. Miller and myself, is we've gotten a little fun video here for you that's going to close the show and hopefully get you psyched up for the upcoming big World Cup, which will be we'll be seeing here very, very soon on Sunday. Okay, so with that in mind, here we go. Wait a minute, sorry. There we go. All right, here we go, gang. Take care.
And here comes Bobby Moore, leading the teams out as the and Dempsey captains the US today here in Salvador. Now it's Charlton, Bobby Charlton. Eusebio, and it's Messi. Oh, beautiful dummy from Price. Ronaldinho, incredible. Marquez, terribly. Cristiano Ronaldo, magnificent. Maradona, give pass. It's a great run by Michael Owen. What has he done? Suarez. Oh, crunching challenge. It's a red card for David Beckham. Can you believe it? Landon Donovan. Del Piero. Mario Götze. Here comes Iniesta. Winner. Camara. England have won it.